Energy is the most important determinant of the socio-economic development of any country, and hydroelectricity is the most widely used form of renewable energy in the world. China is the largest producer of hydroelectricity with 721 terawatt-hours of production in 2010, representing approximately 17% of domestic consumption. Nigeria currently generates less than 2,000 megawatts of hydropower out of the 4,000 megawatt total electricity it produces for a population of over 150 million. The situation of power supply in Nigeria is abysmal. It is estimated that only about 45% of Nigerians have access to electricity, with only about 30% of their demand for power being met. The power sector is plagued by recurrent outages to the extent that some 90% of industrial customers and a significant number of residential customers provide their own power at a huge cost to themselves and to the Nigerian economy.
The new investors are pumping in money to stabilize power supply. But what sometimes brings blackout is when we have system collapse, because the gas is coming from one area and then something happens, it is blown up. Then we all have to wait for one of the hydro dams in Shiroro, Jeba to black start it. So we are now encouraging energy mix. We have a big wind farm that we have just finished in almost 90% completed in Katsina that we'll be commissioning, not as an experiment at 10 megawatts. And after that, we'll now bring a lot of them through PPP with private investors.
Nigeria is endowed with abundant water resources. Significant annual rainfalls renew its surface and underground water resources. The National Water Resources Master Plan, published in 1995, estimates about 267.3 billion cubic meters of surface water per annum. Blessed with a huge hydropower potential, small hydropower schemes can essentially be developed in virtually all parts of the country.
These days, globally, you don't need to have mighty hydros. In some countries like Sweden, even schools have little stream passing by. They tap the water with low head turbines and generate for them small hospitals and playgrounds and so on. So these dams that were built over the years can all potentially be tapped for captive off-grid power systems. We started studying about 17 of them to see how those that we can install turbines. We've completed 12 of them, and this year we're going to start. We're already going to tenders now to get people to bid to install the electromechanical component, that is the turbines, in these 12 dams. There's another 27 that we have almost completed studies that will do the same thing.
Presently, most of the power generation in Nigeria is from thermal plants, with its attendant costs and environmental concerns. In order to meet the energy demand, government is encouraging the use of alternative, clean, low-cost and renewable sources for the generation of electricity.
Nigeria is now working on emplacing a national policy on renewable energy. That had never happened before. In addition to that, the government is working very hard to promote renewable energy, especially solar, because the government of Nigeria recognizes that virtually all parts of Nigeria are suitable for solar energy. And that was why Mr. President himself physically commissioned on the 13th of January 3 communities to flag off Operation Light Up Rural Nigeria. He did that, and these communities, every household, every house, every street, every road path is lighted by solar.
Nigerian scientists who have developed solar technology that is relevant to our environment. In fact, the other day we saw a solar air conditioner, solar fridge, and solar iron developed by Nigeria. We're now working with him. Those are the issues we're using in Operation Light Up Nigeria.
The Federal Ministry of Power is working in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and other relevant agencies to provide affordable and reliable electricity supply to Nigerians by encouraging the construction of multi-purpose and single-purpose dams for hydropower generation. The Gurara Multipurpose Dam is one such large dam constructed in recent times. Its crest is 3 kilometers long and 55 meters high, with a reservoir capacity of 880 million cubic meters, covering an area of 61 square kilometers. Its construction started in 2001. It was initially conceived as a single-purpose dam to transfer water over a distance of 75 kilometers to Lower Usuma Dam in Abuja. Later on, the project was expanded to incorporate an irrigation scheme to irrigate about 6,000 hectares of farmland downstream and the power plant to generate 30 megawatts of hydropower. The electricity being generated from the facility will contribute to the national grid when the transmission lines is completed in 2014. Other multi-purpose dams are also currently being constructed, like the Kashimbila Dam, which is located in Taraba State, north-central Nigeria. The 1.6 kilometer long and 35 meter high dam will hold 500 million cubic meters of water when completed. The dam, which was to be constructed for the sole purpose of checking the imminent flooding from Lake Nyos in the Cameroons, now incorporates water supply and irrigation schemes. The dam, which is being constructed on River Katsina-Ala, a tributary of River Benue, the second largest river in Nigeria, will also generate 40 megawatts of hydroelectric power. The project is situated in a scenic location, which also makes it a tourist attraction. The federal government's efforts at hydropower generation started in 1951, when the Electric Corporation of Nigeria authorized the study of the potentials of the River Niger for large-scale and cheap supply of hydroelectric power. That gave birth to the Kainji Dam 13 years later, when the construction of the dam began across the River Niger in 1964. The dam was completed and came into operation in 1968. By 1984, another dam was built at Jeba, and by 1990, the Shiroro Dam was completed. These three major hydroelectricity dams in Nigeria have a combined installed capacity of close to 2,000 megawatts and are all located in one state. A fourth dam is also being built at Zungeru in Niger State. It is no wonder the state is referred to as the Power State. Kainji Dam is approximately 8 kilometers long and 65.5 meters high. The lake, which supports irrigation and fishing activities, has a total capacity of 15 billion cubic meters, covering an area of 1,270 square kilometers. It cost the government 175 million naira back then to build the biggest dam in the country. It has a capacity of 12 turbines, producing a total of 960 megawatts, but only 8 were installed, producing 760 megawatts. The dam generates electricity for all the major cities in Nigeria, and part of which is sold to neighboring Niger Republic. The Jeba Dam, which generates 578 megawatts of electricity, was built across River Kaduna to augment the electricity supply in the country. It has a reservoir capacity of 3.6 billion cubic meters, covering an area of 35,000 hectares. To further contribute to this national effort, a third dam was built across the River Niger, just 103 kilometers from Kainji. The Shiroro Dam has a surface area of 31,200 hectares and generates 600 megawatts of electricity, enough to power over 400,000 homes. In addition to these major dams, the federal government had authorized the construction of several small to medium-sized dams in different parts of the country with hydroelectric generating components. One of such dams is the Dadinkowa Dam, located in Gombe State, northeastern Nigeria. The dam has a reservoir capacity of 2.8 billion cubic meters, covering an area of 29,000 hectares. It is capable of generating 34 megawatts of electricity, slightly more than the Gurara Dam. More than 30 years after the completion of the civil works of the powerhouse, the hydro-mechanical and hydroelectric components of the project have not been installed, further depriving Nigerians of the elusive but necessary electricity. The story of Ikere Gorge Dam in Oyo State, southwestern Nigeria, with an installed capacity of 6 megawatts, is similar to that of Dadinkowa. The dam and civil works for the powerhouse were completed, but the hydroelectrical components have not been installed. The Oyan Dam in Ogun State, with a designed electricity generating capacity of 9 megawatts, has all of its hydro-mechanical and hydroelectric components fully installed, but electricity is not being generated from this facility. This is the same story for Bakolori Dam with an installed capacity of 3 megawatts and Chalawa Gorge Dam in Kano State with an installed capacity of 6 megawatts.
Some of these equipment that we're looking at them again. The consultants have studied them. They are not all going to be condemned, but a lot of them need upgrading, modernization, and retooling and re-equipping for them to meet as near as possible to the most modern equipment.
The situation is, however, different for Waya Dam in Bauchi State, where 0.15 megawatts of electricity is being generated and used by the immediate community. According to the Federal Ministry of Water Resources 1995 Master Plan, there are 27 dams, some of which have been fully developed for hydropower generation and some at various stages of development. If all these dams are fully developed and operational, they will be contributing over 280 megawatts of electricity to the nation. Despite some of these challenges, the Federal Ministry of Power is not daunted. Rather, it is intensifying efforts at improving electricity supply in the country. The ministry awarded the contract in 2013 for the transmission line to evacuate 30 megawatts that is being generated from the Gurara Dam since 2009. Similarly, it has already awarded the contract for the transmission line that will evacuate 40 megawatts of power that will be generated from the Kashimbila Dam, which is under construction, to avoid the repeat of what happened in the case of Gurara.
Kashimbila has already been approved by Mr. President, and the 40 megawatts coming out of that will also be evacuated. And there is plan that every one of these plants that are put in place, the Transmission Company of Nigeria is synergizing with other government agencies to ensure that the power that comes out of there is wheeled out.
Interministerial and agency cooperation is necessary at the planning and execution stages of projects of this nature for the government to get value for its money and Nigerians to get their full benefits.
In the construction, even in the design of the dams and then the construction of the dam, both the Ministry of Water Resources and Ministry of Power are involved. And then when it comes also to building the power plants and evacuating the power plants, the two ministries are also connected. We can't even do this or all this without the Ministry of Agriculture, because agriculture uses some of the dams for the purposes of irrigation to make sure that farmers have enough water to irrigate their plants, so that the three ministries work together to make sure that Nigerians have the best of the water resources that God has given to us.
The ministry is learning every day and making the necessary adjustments to deliver on its mandate. It is paying more attention to project planning and management and engaging more with relevant stakeholders at all stages of project implementation. With all these efforts and improvements in the approach of the ministry towards project management, it will surely deliver better on all ongoing projects like Otukpo and Zungeru dams.